Hi Scorpio, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute... Hi Scorpio, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit the subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book your personal reading with me, you can do so on the website addressed below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, may help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this week, for your key to the week, you have the Hermit card, right? Now, I very often say to people, when you see this card, you really want to start to focus on pulling yourself out of the maelstrom, right? This is a time for you to retreat. This is a time for you to start thinking more closely. I mean, we're coming into your season now, right? Especially over the course of this week. In fact, right at the beginning of this week, actually, we're coming into Scorpio season. So this is about you being refreshed. Whenever the sun comes into our sign, I don't believe that it just brings us health and vitality and puts a spotlight on us. I actually believe that as the sun travels through the entire zodiac, it brings back all of the knowledge and the wisdom that it has gained on that, you know, on that 365 journey. It brings it back into you, and that's what it infuses into you. So who you've become over this last year, what you've experienced, all of those things, this is all now starting to unfold within who you are. And the fact that you have the Hermit card here, this could be a week where you feel like not necessarily sharing that with anybody. You know, this is probably going to be a moment actually this week where you might feel to retreat from the world, where you might want to pull yourself out of, like I said, the maelstrom. And the reason you're doing that is because as the sun is in your sign now, it's now infusing you with all of that light, heat, energy. It's now infusing you with all of that vitality, but all of that knowledge and information, the wisdom that you've gained, the growth that you've made, all of this stuff now is going to start to really make sense to you. I actually feel like this is going to be a week where you really start to understand what it is that you want from your life, where it is that you're really going. And for a lot of you, I actually feel like this is going to be a week where you formulate some big plan, some big idea, some big goal about where it is that you truly see yourself going from here on in. For your actions and interactions with the world at large, you have the Four of Swords. Now, earlier you saw me as I was shuffling, there was a card that flipped itself over. Find this very interesting because the card that flipped itself over was the Four of Cups. So this week you could find that you are feeling a lot more contemplative than usual. Excuse me. And on top of that, excuse me, you have the Four of Swords as your actions and options. What is the Four of Swords? It is rest, recuperation. This is about withdrawal. This is about it's a card of inaction, but it's a card of choosing to be inactive as opposed to having it imposed on you. I mean, obviously it depends what the surrounding cards are, but look at this, because you've got the Hermit card here, this is about taking a week of deep, restful energy and energy enhancing rest, sleep. If you've noticed that your sleeping is, disrupted, 2 4s in the tarot in a single spread can represent insomnia. So just something for you to be aware of. This week, I actually feel like you're going to be saying to yourself, what is going to be the most impactful thing that I can do to enhance my rest and relaxation? This is a week where you're going to really be pampering yourself, but not from like a, ooh, look at me, I'm going to a spa kind of perspective. I'm talking about the really deep stuff on a very soul sort of orientated level. For your communications and conversations, you have the Strength card, right? And this is right underneath the Hermit card. So this, for me, this feels like you're going to spend a week. It's like you'll probably be spending this either with people that you love and care about, or at least communicating and connecting with people that you care about. And what I get from this more than anything else is that this week, again, there's a real sense of you driving towards what you really want and need at a heart-based heart/soul based level. This is about you being really clear on what it is that you need, really clear on what it is that you want. You know, this is a Mercury retrograde as well. This Mercury is retrograde in your sign, which can see you really starting to rethink, reanalyze, re-strategize what your life is going to look like from here on in. And this week, I really feel like you're paying attention to what you want, to what you need, and ultimately what really feels like it is aligned with who you are from here on in. Now, remember, the Strength card represents the sign of Leo, so you could be connecting with a Leo person, you could be speaking to a Leo person, or you could be deciding that on a personal level, you have the strength and the courage to strike out on your own in some respect. Remember, the Strength card representing Leo is also linked to the Sun. The Sun is currently in your sign, which means in some respect, this week you're going to really be coming into that energy of, right, what does it mean to stand alone? And if that is going to be the case, where is it that I'm going to do that? For your money and materials, you have the Nine of Wands. So this week, it looks like you're going to be figuring out what the price of something is, right? Now, there's a difference between the price and the cost, right? I'm just going to put it that way. There is very often the price of something doesn't necessarily equate to the cost of it. And this is, you know, I'll give you a really good example. If you, wherever you are in the world, if you live in a city close to like the major capital of the city, you will realize that space comes at a premium, that everything is more expensive. You move an hour, 2 hours further out, and suddenly, you know, everything that you could do, you know, next to the city for a lot less money, you can do and get a lot more for your money. So this is why I say this week, I feel like you're going to be looking at the balancing between the price and the cost, you know, i.e. the difference between renting and buying a home, like, or the difference between, there's just a lot of things this week that I think you're going to be thinking really deeply about. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this week, these cards are telling you, if you don't take a rest now, you'll probably end up having to, you know, your body will force you to take a rest at a later date. And, you know, one of the things that I often say to people when it comes to health is literally this, right? If you, and I do this for myself, I know when my body or my health is starting to take a dip, or when I feel it. And what I will usually do, I will take anything from 3 to 7 days off. And what I do in that space is literally take myself down to ground, to self-nurture, self-pamper, all the rest of it, to look after myself. Sometimes those 3 days or that 7-day period that you have off saves you from having a complete crash and having to take 6 to 8 weeks off at a later date. When it comes to your home and environment, this could be a week where you're starting to realize that the place that you are in either doesn't work for you anymore, or in some respect you have outgrown it. It's going to be a really interesting week because you've got that Nine of Wands right underneath the Four of Swords. I don't think you're going to realize this stuff if you don't take the downtime this week. And I honestly feel that because you've got that Hermit card there as the key to the week. For your love and relations, you have the Knight of Swords. So it does appear that there may be somebody coming in, or there may be an advance that is made towards you this week. And interestingly enough, I mean, usually, especially if you're single, you know, it kind of feels like usually you might sort of go in for this. But this week, anyone that makes an advance towards you, I think you're going to take a step back. I think you're going to kind of look at it and say, do you know what? I'm not entirely sure this works for me at this moment in time. Maybe it does, you know, maybe I'm wrong about that. But I think this week is going to be more about observation rather than action. For those of you that are partnered already, I'm going to be honest with you, it does look like you and your partner are at odds about something this week, and it kind of feels like, in a way, there's a part of you maybe that's feeling a little bit lonely within the confines of the relationship. If that ever happens, it's really important to reach out and to talk about it. And the reason I say that is because, you know, it's easy to be alone. You just have to be on your own. Being lonely while you're in a relationship is not the one. All right. So this is a week to try and open up a dialogue. And if you can't, or it gets a bit too heated, take some time out and go back to it. But it's going to be an interesting week for you guys for sure. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have as best a week as you possibly can with everything that's going on for you guys. If you are celebrating this week, a happy damn birthday to you, and remember to fill the day of your birthday, the day of your solar return, with a little bit of everything that you want this next 12-month period to have in it for you. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week as best as you possibly can. Take care, and I'll see you soon.